call the, sorry, bad start. Call the Board of Supervisors meeting for December 18th, 2017. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, roll call to establish a quorum.
Supervisor John Stavenus.
Here.
Supervisor Linda Waite.
Here.
Chairman Dan Wolfel.
Here.
Supervisor Chuck Tice.
Here.
Supervisor Tony Hayne.
Here.
All right, all accounted for. Meet and greet, please introduce yourself. We'll start with Amy.
Amy Flock, Clerk Treasurer, County Road P.
Tony Hayne, Town Supervisor, Matthew Road and the North Pole.
Chuck Tice, Supervisor of Bay Shore Drive.
Dan Wolfel, Chairman, Park Road.
Linda Waite, Supervisor, Bluff Court.
John Stavenus, Supervisor, Whitefish Bay Road. Go ahead.
Derek Daniel, County P.
Okay.
Stacy Daniel, County P. Judy Maas, Rockridge Road.
Don Maas, Rockridge Road.
Kimberly Daniel, Whitefish Bay Road.
John Daniel, Whitefish Bay Road.
Gary Lionel, Hamilton Road.
Jim Mellon, Lower Line. Joe Grayboy, South Lake Road.
And?
Glad Chapman, Glidden Drive.
All right. Next item on our agenda is public participation. This is for non-agenda items. If somebody would like to speak on a particular topic, now is the time to do that. Yes.
Good evening, members of the Town Board and community. As a business owner, property owner, and a citizen of the town of Sevastopol, I'd like to go on record and state that I'm disgusted at the lies and misconstrued information that has passed between the town chairman Dan Wolfel, Supervisor Chuck Tice, Fire Chief Tim Dittman, and several others, not only at the town level, but at the city fire department, who reported false code violations. The above mentioned, through their lies, have created a demeaning and offensive environment for our business and our personal lives. The last I knew, it was against the law to make false statements and accusations that result in a negative action. These lies, mistruths, and malicious acts have been used to harass and attempt to intimidate and belittle John and myself, both personally and professionally. As business owners, we have done everything that was ever asked of us and have always attempted to make our business a positive part of the community and help our neighbors as much as we possibly could. We went over 10 years without a single code violation in regards to our property or the fire department and the fire safety. I don't believe that asking someone that shows up on your property and stating they are there to do an inspection for identification is classified as being difficult or contradictory, nor is it against the law, and it is the right of the property owner to know who is on their property. Since Tim Dittman has taken over the position of fire chief, there's been continuous lies, harassment, and malicious acts on the part of the fire chief and members of his department, town chairman Dan Wolfel, supervisor Chuck Tice. Their lack of professionalism is appalling, and the fact that Chairman Dan Wolfel has allowed it to continue and seemingly encourage these actions reflects poorly on his governing abilities and professionalism. For over 10 years, we have run our business in the town of Sevastopol, and never have we experienced the type of arrogance, abuse of power, and disregard for truths and facts that we had these last 10 months. On December 1st, we invited Jeff Kuzo, Door County Zoning Administrator, to walk through the property at 4451 Whitefish Bay Road to inspect the building for any possible zoning or building violations. I have a letter dated December 4th from Mr. Kuzo stating, and I quote, "The purpose of the inspection was to review alleged zoning violations. As a result of the on-site meeting and interior inspection of the former showroom on the west side of the building, I have determined that no zoning violation exists," end quote. If any members of the board would like to review a copy of the full letter, I do have copies with me. However, Dan Wolfel did already receive a copy of the letter, and he was listed as one of the complainants. I assume he has previously shared this letter with the members of the board. I feel that the above-mentioned town board members, along with Fire Chief Dittman, have created a nuisance by their action. I also do feel, as business owners or members of this community, we should not have to tolerate this continued behavior and abuse of power and official misconduct, especially in relation to Dan Wolfel and Fire Chief Dittman's statement, "You pushed, so we pushed harder." Please be aware that as of this morning, an open records request was filed under the State of Wisconsin Open Records Law, Wisconsin Statute 19.31 to 39. Once that information is received, we'll be in contact with our attorney to explore our options, and a decision will be made on how best to proceed with this issue. Thank you.
Well, thank you and Merry Christmas. Anyone else? All right. All right, motion to adopt the agenda, properly noticed, Amy?
The agenda has been properly noticed.
All right, motion to accept the
We
agenda.
adopt the agenda for December 18, 2017.
I second it.
Motion by Chuck, second by Tony. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, motion approved. All right, approval of the minutes, Board of Supervisors meeting from November 27th. I think you all had an opportunity to look at the minutes ahead of time, so unless
I so
anything was
moved.
missed.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Chuck. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, minutes, motion carried. Thank you. Pending business, Town Hall well update. Chuck, you want to take us through that, please?
Well, the well has been drilled. We have a well that is cased 220 feet. It's 310 feet deep, nominal. Final measurements will come in with the final report. Everything seems to be working right. We have to allow it to clear itself out now. When you drill a new well, you get a lot of mud and sand, so for the next week or so, we'll be cleaning it and testing it and see how things go from there.
Okay.
How about the mud and silt and sand in the driveway? Are we gonna be able to get rid of that, or was that frozen down?
Ice is pretty well gone now. Best we could do is hope for there some snow to help push it up, clean it away.
Okay.
And if we could spray water out there, but that might create a bigger problem than what we have, so we'll just deal with the dirt.
So hopefully that puts an end to
We will have
the
some landscaping work that'll need to be done in the spring when things thaw out, and we can replant some bushes and that.
Okay. And property management update, that falls back to you again, Chuck.
There's nothing to update there, just a note. The building at what used to be the Moore's Machine Shop on Highway 4257
All right.
has been torn down and the area has been cleaned up. Other than that, with the snowstorm now and that, things are covered up. It's kind of hard to proceed any further with any other projects, so we'll wait till spring or see what happens with the snow.
We'd had some discussion last meeting about a building takedown, so nothing's transpired
Well,
with that.
everything is covered with snow out there now, so
Okay.
we haven't done anything with that.
Okay, good enough. Any questions by anybody? All right, next item would be the meeting schedule for 2018. We've had this for a month or so, and we would like to lock these dates in, subject, of course, to the road inspection and the budget work session, which always we're reasonably fluid on. So, does anyone have any issues with any of the dates that are on here?
Yeah,
At least,
Monday, December 17th. Like, tonight is the Christmas concert, over at Sevastopol. Maybe we get into the fall or whatever, when the school does their calendar, if we could maybe move that.
so you want it, I mean, it's okay as it stands, but
Yeah, right
depending
now,
on
yeah,
the-
we gotta kind of see where their concerts are. 'Cause
Okay.
Santa Claus is supposed to be at the concert tonight, he missed it.
Okay, that's a fair ask, so no problem with that. Otherwise, dates for everyone else look good? Sure. Okay, so let's go with this then, subject to the December, or of course, anything else that might crop up, but at least as it stands right now.
Thanks.
Okay, good enough.
So, are we putting dates on these too? Oh, yeah, okay, 12/12.
Right,
2017.
it says on top,
Yep, I see that now.
so you have the most recent one.
I know we had a problem with a bunch of them.
Yep.
We had about 10 copies, and we didn't know which was which.
No, I asked Amy again, to date them,
Good.
so we had the right one.
Very good.
All right. Then on the LRIP and TRIP application update, I think, Linda, you had something with respect to the Highway Commission and that.
Yes, we had our meeting last Thursday, December 14th, and funding awarded to Door County overall was $108,000. There were 9 applications from the various towns in Door County, but only 7 were considered for an award of a project. And we go through a criteria on rating each of the applications. We rate them on safety improvements, longevity, the size of the project, traffic volume, and also equity, how much those towns have received in the past for local town road improvement funds. So I am happy to report that the town of Sevastopol was up near the top. So we will be receiving $20,000
Oh, great.
out of the 108. Liberty Grove was getting $20,000, Nassau-Waupee $17,000, Jacksonport $11,000, Gardner $10,000, Forestville $14,000, and Brussels $15,000.
And we submitted Nelson Lane as our.
We submitted Nelson Lane, right? I think we had a good basis, just because that is a detour. People travel down Whitefish Bay Road thinking they're going to get to Whitefish Bay or Whitefish Dunes Park, and obviously that's a dead end there, so they have to go down Nelson Lane, so.
After they asked me for directions.
Yeah. So we could note that on our budget too, as a revenue, anticipated revenue, assuming that we will do this in 2018.
Oh, I think
You
we
actually
will.
have 2 years to do it,
Oh.
so.
But that was on our priority list from last year, so I don't see any
Yeah.
reason why we wouldn't do it. So anybody that lives on Nelson Lane can get some fresh pavement. So, great, thank you for doing that application for the town and for following through on it.
You're welcome.
All right. Updated committee appointments, I had missed one unintentionally when I did this a month or so back. And I officially want to add Linda Waite to the Coastal Byways Council, so we have done that. I have already discussed it with her, but I just want to make you aware of that. It was done, it was simply overlooked on my part. So, an FYI more than anything.
Another thing you might want to add in there would be SVBC, Sturgeon Bay Visitors Center.
You mean create?
It's been under all the tourism,
Right.
so
You mean just add that as a category?
it would probably be the proper thing to do.
Okay. So you'd have Sturgeon Bay Visitor Center and Door County Coastal Byway? Is that your suggestion?
Just make a new Sturgeon Bay Visitor Center
As a standalone? Well, the logic would be is that since you have been involved in that, would be to carry that forward.
Well, that's all tourism
Right.
zone, coastal byways,
Byways. All right,
the Sturgeon Bay Visitor Center.
okay. So just assign the two of you back to that same committee officially? Is that what you're, I can do that. I have no trouble with that. Are you okay with that? I
I'm
assume?
okay with that. I have a question.
Sure, go right ahead.
Did you have any time frame for the newsletter, or anybody have any ideas as to when we might start pulling this newsletter together, since it does take a while to get articles?
Well, you have, and Laddie might even help me on this. One year we did 2 issues, right? Or did we delay the one until summer? Do you recall?
I don't think we ever did 2 in 1 year.
We did,
I don't think, I'm not sure.
I can't remember, I'd have to go and look.
I think we might have.
I did one in summer because we had
did
more.
a spring one.
Or spring, because we had the seasonal one, you don't need to do as much distribution because we have so many people that their mail, we always used box holder. Now, we did ask for people's addresses. Have you started to get anything back from that on
We
the?
are, we're getting a lot of people's email addresses as well, so.
Okay.
I have them all on a spreadsheet,
How many would you guess?
between 10 and 20.
Oh, so not a significant number, but, okay.
So are you talking of having one in the spring, one in the winter, or just one?
No, it was, I think we originally, they kind of always came during either the fall, spring or fall, which had limited distribution because we used box holder the same way that the school did. And so we tried to do an issue in the summer where you had the summer residents, seasonal, people back and people were picking up mail and stuff.
So if you say the deadline is June 1st, get
If
any
you were
articles
gonna do
in?
that, yeah, that's entirely up to you two, I mean, what you think. I mean, it's not an issue it is an issue, no, I mean, whatever your timeline. Then we'd try and do it in,
Well, obviously, during the summer months, you would get everybody,
buddy. Okay.
or most everybody would have their mailbox up and running.
And we did, I think I provided a starting list of some thoughts. So if you want to bring that back at a future meeting or whatever, we can
And
pick and choose and see if we can get some people to contribute articles so the burden's not totally on the two of you. Okay. All right. And then back to the committee appointments, I will add the Sturgeon Bay Visitor Center and have Chuck and Lana will put that on there. And okay. Sounds good. Okay, under new business, we're here tonight to talk about someone who's decided to retire. And it's a tremendous loss for us, and maybe not, because somebody else is here that's going to fill those shoes. But since we opened the town hall, it's been over 8 years, we've had 2 value employees who have really taken care of our building. And they've taken care of it just as if it was their own home. I think anybody that has ever come into this building have found them to have done a pretty impeccable job for us. You come in, you find this building almost in the same shape as the day that we moved in, and that was over 8 years ago. They not only kept the place clean as a whistle, but they did the windows, and occasionally they would be out there weeding in the gardens if it's a nice day. And whatever they could suggest to improve the appearance of the place, they brought it to our attention and went the extra mile to get it accomplished. So in the unlikely event that you don't know our 2 dedicated workers that are retiring, they're Don and Judy Maas, who are in the front row here. They have earned their retirement. They've done a great job for us for a long time, and we want to thank them with a parting gift or 2 on behalf of the town. So perhaps you'd step up here if you would for a minute. We think we've come up with some useful things.
You're
Yes, it is a mop and a bucket. So we know that you may be wanting to carry on in the same tradition that you've carried on in the past. With a sprinkling can for your yard. This brush, I know you'll put to good use. And attached are a couple of gift certificates from the town board, and we thank you for your service. It was, you did a great job for us.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
We'll catch that breakfast one of these days.
And you've broken in your successor already, or that's to come?
Breakfast one of these days.
Thank you.
Enjoy your second retirement.
Sure.
And even the community, everybody's been so good since Don called the first time. And we appreciate all that help.
Don't let them pick up that bucket.
Yeah.
That's all right. We were glad he was able to recover and return.
Everybody in the community, and everybody that helps.
Great, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Judy. Thanks, Don.
Oh, that we have to wait for. Well, I should let Judy, would you like to introduce your successor too? I could, but it might be appropriate that you hand her the keys to the building, Marla.
Yep. Okay. All right. This is Stacy Danielle, and she will take over for us. And she has done a great job. We worked together the last couple parties here, and she does a super job. Very nice.
Stacy's new manager is also here. We'll leave that till the retirement party, Stacy, okay? All right, thanks again. Appreciate your comment. All right. We have the clerk treasurer's contract renewal. We've done this each year since Linda was with us as a full-time employee, and you have all the details. It reflects the pay increase that we put in effective January 1st, and she has adjusted the holidays to match up with this year. The only question I had when I saw this, Amy, and I apologize, I forgot to call you in advance, was Tuesday mornings by appointment only. That was from Linda's?
Right.
You don't use that at,
I don't use that.
so
no.
would you make that one correction and, or
Correct.
deletion, I should say? And I thought there was a signature sheet. Did I not pop that in there? Yeah. I must be missing mine. All right. We'll sign that and take care of it at the end of the meeting. Any questions or anything on that? Don't we have the chance to vote on that? No.
You want to?
No.
We can do, it's not a requirement. All right. In addition to Amy's contract, we also have, and this is just an FYI, the Safe Built construction, Safe Built contract is under auto renewal, so that will renew next year. We talked about this in the past, I think. There should be no issues. They seem to be addressing our concerns just fine. So that's on an auto renewal, and I think it's effective February 1st or 1/31. Okay, yes?
So no change in fees or
No
anything
changes,
like that?
nothing at all.
Good.
So everything's good. Okay, next item is snow plowing, pre-treating designated priority areas, et cetera. I personally did not know exactly how this was all handled by Leo in the past, so I had a conversation with Thad Ash at the Highway Department with respect to this. I was under the impression there was a designated area or priority areas where salt and sand, et cetera, happened. According to Thad, there's only 2 areas in the town where this happens, and that's on Whitefish Bay Road between highways 42 and 57, and Clark Lake Road between 42 and 57. I'm sorry, 3 areas. And Dunn Road between 42 and HH, and mostly done because of the hills. And they do this on as-needed basis. If they think it needs to be done, they try and make it part of their sweep so it gets accomplished in the earlier part of the day. What prompted this discussion was I had a call from a couple people complaining, shouldn't say complaining, concerned about snow removal. And the way it works in the town, if you're not aware of it, is the county does the state roads first, then they take on the county roads, and then they do the town roads. And in the process, if there are priority roads, they try and slip or adjust those in to get them accomplished. And those are the roads that I had just previously mentioned. One of the suggestions that came out of one of the townspeople was that we pre-treat the roads. So I had a conversation with Thad about that, and by pre-treating, you may have seen the trucks, or you may have noticed it on the road bed. They come out and they put a salt solution on the roads. It looks like you'll see lines in the road and curves, et cetera. And their idea with that, at least my impression of that, was that it really helped. But in effect, I guess what it does is it prevents the snow from packing down and adhering to the road surface, giving the county more time to get out there and to address it through plowing. So if we, I mean, they're willing to do anything we'd like them to do, but if we wanted to attempt to pre-treat certain selected areas, it would run us about $300 to $500 per outing, which I thought was pretty pricey, not even knowing how many areas we would do. But I wanted to at least talk to you about it, so if you had some input on it,
we could decide what to do. And also, if you think there are some roads that we need to try and put higher on their list of priorities, now or in the future, we'd have an opportunity to talk about that. So.
What do they go out, and plow with, like a half an inch, an inch?
2 inches, and if.
2 inches. So
2
if we don't,
inches is-
so if we don't get 2 inches at a time, they don't go out and plow our roads?
Correct. And, well, what they'll do is, depending on conditions, they'll call me,
Yeah,
and they'll ask whether or not I want them to go out and plow, and, they'll tell me the conditions where they're at, if there's a lot of wind or drifting or whatever, and then we make the call. But standard, if it's 2 inches or more, they come out and plow, so.
so you can get a lot of snowfalls without, in between those 2 inches.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I took a look at Whitefish Bay Road and down Cape Point and stuff too the other day. I mean, now with the warmer weather, most of that's dissipated.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, the question is, we have $100,000 in our budget for snow removal now. Do you know offhand, Amy, where we're gonna finish this year?
Depending on what the bill is for a few days ago, we were sitting at 63,000, but now.
With December, which gets put back into December, right?
Correct.
So if we get this foot of snow this week, plus whatever they've done already,
We'll probably have it used.
okay. So,
Well,
Yeah.
if somebody calls one of the supervisors, like I have 2 people, and they were areas that, on Dunhill, obviously is a steep one, and so is the end of Lori Lane. So it's okay for us to
Oh,
pass
absolutely.
that along to the highway department, right?
Sure, absolutely.
And they were Johnny on the spot, I mean.
yeah, I mean, if there's any issues in the town, and anybody's welcome to call in, the supervisors or the office, if they're open, we'll get a sander or plow or whatever out there. I was just reiterating the procedure they go through, because obviously, when we have a snowstorm, someone in the town's gonna be the first person to get their road plowed, and someone's gonna end up being the last person. So I was just trying to explain, what was up, and to discuss if somebody thought pre-treating bought us anything. But no, if you got a concern, call and we'll get the county out there. They've been very good.
A lot of the questions were why somebody sees the plow go by their house 4 or 5 times, and some of the other roads aren't plowed yet. And it's a simple fact that they plowed and they're got to get back to get the next road, or they're making a circuit to go around. It's just like the mailman. You wind up with a lot of backtracking to get the project finished.
And the county, by the way, only likes to make right turns. I mean, that's,
Well,
their whole
that's-
goal is when they go through the county, they want to always have the plow making a right turn.
It's the way the plow is set up.
Exactly. So kind of confusing things. Miss, you had a question?
Is this an appropriate time to ask a question?
Regarding plowing?
Plowing, yes.
Yes, yeah.
No, I'm not on to a different topic.
Okay.
What is South Lake Road? Is that, I talked to Amy a little about this. What is South Lake Road? Is that a town road?
Yes,
And Dunes Park is a town road?
yes.
Okay. I guess I am here to request that South Lake Road be considered a little higher up on the plowing of town roads. I am a full-time resident here. I work in Sturgeon Bay, and this last snowstorm, Wednesday, I had my own driveway plowed out, and I needed to ask my plow fella to plow me a path from my house through Dunes Park so I could get out to WD, because I was responsible for any emergencies in the hospital that night. And as of 9 o'clock the next morning, the plow still had not been in there when the snow had stopped by 7 or 8 at night. So I don't know the appropriate way to ask for this, but on Monday night, for the first snow this year, the plow came through and did only up South Lake Road, but not all the way South Lake Road, I guess it would be east, and didn't do Dunes Park. So I am east of Dunes Park on South Lake Road, and I wasn't plowed on Monday night, and then I wasn't plowed on Wednesday night, and I wasn't even plowed Thursday morning by 9 a.m. So something isn't getting done with 10 inches of snow, which we have
You're on the
here.
circle side of Lake? Am I following you correctly?
The circle side.
Where dead ends on there?
South Lake?
I
South
am,
Lake?
yes, I am
I'm
east
sorry.
of Dunes Park,
East of
on
Dunes.
South Lake.
Okay.
And I need to register a request that this piece of turf get cleared for me. I don't know, I mean, I would think the priority for these smaller roads is who's permanent residents here, and certainly permanent residents who are working here. So I don't know where to go, but this is, and I must admit, this is the worst plowing it has been since I've been living here. So that's why I came and talked to Amy, because I didn't know what was suddenly different. Did we not have money to plow these smaller streets or what? So I didn't think to call and talk to a supervisor, but didn't understand why it had changed this year. So that's why I'm here. I'd really like to know the priorities, because I am asking personally to be a little higher on the list, because it doesn't look like we're very high right now.
I have no idea, but
Okay.
it's an easy enough topic of conversation with the county, so it's not a problem.
So we
Amy
pay
has-
somebody else to come and plow it, is that it?
We hire the county to do our roads, and yes, they are the only source that we have to plow.
Okay,
And they do most of the other townships, not all, but many of the other townships use the county. But their priority is state roads first,
sure.
then county roads, and then the towns. And, you know, they also try to avoid excessive overtime, which ratchets up our costs. So sometimes, you know, it's snowing and you think the plow will be along, and the reality is they don't show up until the next morning at 4 o'clock because they think they finally can get ahead of it and, you know,
I understand.
shoot down the street. But I have no problem. We'll find out what's up and see. Otherwise, we'll move your home. All right?
Put it right out on WD, right?
That was exactly my thought. So we'll find out, and then Amy has your information.
It's
Yeah.
already been,
Okay.
Thad already got back to me. He had a talk with the driver who was on doing that route. So, I mean, it was, hopefully in a few days, we won't have to deal with it again.
Right,
Yeah,
So-
if you experience the problem, feel free to give us a call,
okay.
and we'll find out. So, yes.
It probably should be addressed, I don't know who you have plowing in town, hall parking lot here. It should be addressed that Amy's here all day long, there's people coming in and out of here all day long. It should be addressed that they at least clean it 3 to 4 times a day, depending on the snowfalls. Because the other day I plowed them out, pushed them out, because they were stuck in the parking lot.
Right.
That needs to get addressed. You're running a business that people need to come in and out of, and it's a liability. And I don't think the town needed it. Townspeople don't need any more liabilities.
Okay, good. All right. Any other comments with respect to plowing from the board or anything along those lines? Hearing none? All right. So,
Skip over item C.
item C.
No?
I don't have an item C other than safe-built contract. Is it?
Yeah. Safe bill.
Yeah, I said it's an auto renewal. It was an FYI.
Okay.
Did you have something that you wanted on?
No, just,
Okay. Well, I thought I covered it.
I heard
Ordinances and resolutions, we have the appointment of election officials. And this is resolution number 6, 2017 TB, appointment of election officials to the Sevastopol Town Board of Supervisors. Whereas Section 730 Wisconsin statutes provides for the procedure and requirement for the appointment of election officials. And whereas Section 7.30 Par 4 provides that no later than December 31st of odd number years, the town board chairperson shall nominate to the governing body for approval the necessary election officials for each polling place and any election officials required under Section 7-52, Paragraph 1, Paragraph B. Now therefore be it resolved that the attached list of nominees be approved as election officials for the town of Sevastopol for the term beginning January 1, 2018 and ending December 31, 2019. And said election officials shall file such oath of office as required within 10 days of receiving said notice of the appointment by the clerk and that is submitted by me. And attached is the list that we have been supplied by the Republican Party of Door County. I think it was like 10 or 12 names, many of which you know. And also attached is a list from Amy of additional people that can be called upon during the various elections. And that is submitted by me. So I will make...
The lists that have been submitted,
Yes.
do they have to be accepted as they are?
The Republican Party has to be. Yes. The non-affiliated ones can be picked and chosen in any order.
Just an FYI? Or,
Well-
no?
I think there's a problem there. The parties should be contacted and notified that a couple of these people hinder the operation. They're not able to stay at their station. They have to get up and move, and that does create a problem. Their station has to be filled in then with a substitute at that point, and the subs are busy, or the others are busy doing their work, and, I mean, the last election, there was a problem
Okay.
with a couple of those election officials not being at their post when they should have been. So, I believe especially the Republican Party, there's a couple there, they should be notified that maybe they would like to make a different choice.
I will have training in February, or January, February, and I
Okay.
will make sure to stress the importance of them being here and available. And, you know,
And if not, if they can't fulfill it, then perhaps suggest that they take a half day or something less?
correct, yes.
Okay, so I take it, you know, the individuals that Chuck might be concerned about.
I can guess.
Okay, all right. Is that good, Chuck?
That'll work.
I'd make a motion to approve my resolution.
I'll second that.
Motion by me and seconded by Linda to approve resolution 06-2017 TB. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. I'll sign it before I forget. All right. Financial reports. You have the financial reports through November 30th. The budget versus actuals, January through December, are included. And you also have the transaction list. Any questions on any of the items in that list? Hearing none, I will give Amy a moment to tell us about anything that she finds significant from the treasurer's side of the business.
We received a payment from the county for their portion of the Whitefish Bay Bridge project. Our residents are busy paying their taxes, and we've received a substantial deposit from the Door County Treasurer. I'm still waiting on the bill from Euclid for our well drilling, and the tentative date for our audit is February 22nd.
And as part of the audit, even if the bill from Euclid comes in, it'll be put back into the current year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Amy. Okay, we'll keep those financial reports on file. I must have one out of sequence here. Resolution of appointed elected officials. I just did that. Sorry, I'm going backwards. Approval of vouchers, bills, and claims. Has everybody had a chance to look at that? Motion?
I'll move that we approve vouchers, bills, and claims for November 28th. through December 18 of 2017.
Second.
Motion by Chuck, second by Tony to approve the vouchers, bills, and claims November 28th through December 18th. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Oral committee reports. Anybody have any oral committee reports?
I got a couple.
Okay. Go ahead.
We went down to the dam on Friday, the 15th, and put a board in. We were just a hair below 8.5. We were supposed to be 8.5 to 9.0. We dumped the board in. I went down there this morning. We're at 8.6. So we're back within, to the DNR limits. Also, having to do with the park, I have a meeting with the superintendent over at Sevastopol Friday morning to go over the park and then talk about the tennis court.
Tennis courts?
Yep.
Okay. That would be great, because I've had some people talk to me from the town about the condition of the tennis courts. Not that this is the time of year that they would use it, but they've expressed concern over the condition. So whether we keep them or whatever will be dependent on your
We'll
conversation.
take it out of John's budget.
Okay. Did you have a comment, Linda?
Well, just that, the Plan Commission was notified that, through Bay Lakes Regional Planning Commission, they did make our grant application to Wisconsin Coastal Management Program to help with the update on our comprehensive plan. And that is going to be heard by that board in early January 8th or 9th, I believe it was, in Madison. So we asked if anybody from the Plan Commission needs to go with Brandon Peterson from Bay Lakes, and he said that was not necessary, that he would be attending on our behalf.
Correct.
And how much,
So it is in the works.
how much are we anticipating he's asking for?
It-
Hoping.
Hoping for half.
Right, so if our,
Yeah, it would be like a matching fund.
up
So-
to 7,500, I believe,
Yes.
7,500.
Okay. And then we would begin. All right.
Yes, it would, but it came out in, the grants wouldn't be awarded till like June.
June, right.
And at June, once the grants started coming out, then we would be starting to go through the process at that time, so,
So you'd wait till the grants are done?
yes.
That's what you're thinking, even if we are on a 50-50 match?
Yeah, because we won't know if we get the grant or not,
Right. Then we might have to downsize our spending a little bit.
Yes.
Okay,
so.
all right. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Thank
Okay.
you.
As far as
Anything else?
Tourism Zone Commission goes, the minutes did not get out in time in order to get them in your packet, but I urge everybody to read them very carefully. It's a lengthy executive committee meeting explaining, along with our attorney's opinion and everything, on this new collection process that's going to be going through
The Airbnb?
with the Airbnb and other marketplace entities. The Department of Revenue has pretty much washed their hands of it. The legislation went through and they slipped it through in the budget. There are no plans at this time to have any cleanup meetings or anything to work on. So they're leaving it up to the tourism zones, municipalities that collect tax to straighten it out and make it work.
So you're going to have to identify every establishment and have
Well,
someone pull it out of there? Is that
We're
what you're?
working with attorneys to see what we can do. We're hoping that it'll go in as a zone and we'll have one contract, but it could fall apart and we might wind up with 19 different contracts. So, like I said, it's up in the air right now. It's a big thing. Nobody really knows what to do. I do believe the legislature finally realized they screwed something up that was working. But they do that quite often.
But the biggest part of the problem is that, for example, with us, since we're all under 54235 zip code, anybody in that zip code, all those funds went to one person or one entity which then has to redistribute them, is that correct? And if it's not done correctly, we lose.
That's the way it's working right now. They were not given the authority to start collecting tax till January 1st. They started in November. And places like Green Bay with multiple zip codes, the city of Green Bay gets the check for all of it. And they kept it because they don't know where it goes either. So it's up to the other municipalities around Green Bay now to come in to the city and try to get their money back.
So in our
We
case-
have a feeling that's what's going to happen here in Door County too.
Which means
But-
Sturgeon Bay.
Who's going to be the municipality with the 54235 zip code? Is it going to be Sevastopol? Is it going to be the city of Sturgeon Bay? Is it going to be Jacksonport? Who's going to get that money? And then how are we going to know how much of it goes to each of the other municipalities? So, I mean, it's a real mess right now. The attorneys are working on it. We're trying to talk with the legislature and get somebody to start with a cleanup bill. But we don't know what's going to happen with it. So, I mean, there's a lengthy meeting. The minutes are quite a bit there to read, so.
Linda?
I think those were the minutes we received today, correct?
Right.
Okay, I didn't get a chance to read those. But is that just going to apply to the Airbnb lodging?
No.
It's going to apply to all the lodging?
All the different organizations.
So Glidden
that-
Lodge, Westwood Shore, everything?
No,
Not
that's-
just Airbnb?
You're mixing things
Yeah, I
up.
thought it was just Airbnb.
Airbnb is an
Airbnb, yes.
entity. You, as a homeowner that want to rent your home,
Right.
contact Airbnb, they take over. They rent your place out, they collect the fees, they pay you. You have nothing else to do. There are other ones, I can't even remember all the different names of these organizations now that can be hired to be your managers. And they will all have, provided they register with the state, they will have the right to collect Wisconsin sales tax, the local municipal sales tax, and any room tax or any other fees that a municipality may impose on a rental. So if you personally put your home up for rent and use this organization, they collect it for you. They're supposed to pay it in and everything is done. But now there are no records. I mean, when you reported on your own, or reported how many nights you rented, how many rooms you had, you know, all this information that helped us run the market, promote Door County. So we're losing all of that.
But the large multiple providers, such as The Landing, Westwood Shores, Bay Shore Inn, they will be reporting as usual to the Tourism Zone Commission, just like they have in the past.
The majority of it
Yes.
will, but some
Right.
people rent their condos out privately.
Yep,
And they hire Airbnb or an organization similar to it to do
VRBO.
that. VRBO is another one, right?
Right. Okay. So it could have an impact on what we have in the way of incoming funds, so we'll have to obviously, hopefully, come up with a system to just redistribute those dollars before they end up in Sturgeon Bay's coffers and they build a new swimming pool or something along those lines. Okay. Anyone else? All right. Also in your packet, you have the Door County zoning and safe-built building inspection and permits for November. And one of the highlights of this month is the fact that we have a 27 by 10 chicken coop that's being built in our area. So, I mean, we could use a few more homes, but I mean, a chicken coop's a chicken coop. Yes?
Given permits. Just a question, because I ran past the county already, I'm sure everybody's got a copy.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I said a question about permits. I ran it past the county, Jeff Crusoe, building a fence on my property. going across the property, not dividing property lines, basically putting up an eye block for you guys that have too much time on your hands. Do I need a permit for that?
You already got the answer to that. I believe it's covered in the letter that you
And what
got.
was the answer?
I believe it's covered in the letter, and I'm not in zoning, so I'm...
No, he did, I got that answer. He told me to talk to the town, now I'm talking to you. Do I need a permit from the town?
Well, you'll have to talk to the building inspector. I'm not him. So,
So
sorry.
what do you get paid $9,500 a year for?
Okay. Safe build, we've covered that. We have the Door County Board report from Linda, District 14.
County Board meets tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., and it's a pretty healthy agenda. One of the new items is the new community/senior center has a tentative open house scheduled for January 18th in the evening from 4 to 6 p.m. Let's see, and I think a few months ago I had talked about the John Miles County Park, better known as the Fairgrounds. And they have come up with a draft plan to bring some new items to that park grounds. They've got all kinds of ideas on better use and more often use, indoor and outdoor, sports and recreation activities, and things like that they could do at the park. The floodplain zoning ordinance, that's on the agenda for tomorrow. We had to replace our entire floodplain zoning ordinance at the county level pursuant to the National Flood Insurance Program under FEMA. So our Door County Planning and Zoning Department has been working on that. It's about 47 pages alone. There's some new zoning categories established under that floodplain ordinance. And there's also going to be some new maps. So we'll just keep our eye out on what floodplains may be designated in the town of Sevastopol. And that's about it.
I did talk to Mariah on the floodplain meeting on January 15th.
Oh, yes, there's a January 15th at 10 a.m.
Right.
at the Government Center.
And there are some new areas that were not in a floodplain before. And I think she said less than 50 in the town. So
I haven't seen the
we're going to
maps.
have to maybe send somebody to attend that to get a better understanding, because as silly as it sounds, as my understanding from reading the FEMA documents, potentially someone in that flood zone would be required to build new construction on stilts, which could be...
Mr. Chairman, that meeting is going to be recorded. The county is engaged us to record it.
Right, I saw that in the announcement, which is good, so I think there'll be a lot of questions out of that, so, okay. That's the Monday morning of our regular town meeting. Okay,
And, yeah, January 15th is a,
Monday, I think. Monday morning, and the 15th the meeting is. Okay, thank you, Linda. All right, correspondence, I think you have everything in there from the Land Use Department regarding zoning issues, copies of those documents, and the report from the City of Sturgeon Bay Fire Department, who had unbelievable only 2 calls in the town for the month. And that is the extent of the correspondence. Announcements, we have the offices closed the 22nd, the 25th, and the 29th of December, and January 1st for holidays. And our next meeting will be January 15th for the Board of Supervisors meeting at 7 p.m. Are there any items for next month's agenda that anybody would like to add at this time?
We got newsletter to discuss.
Okay. Anything else? All right, we will do that. Yes?
There's a question.
I'm sorry, yes?
The next month's agenda, also for the explanations of who writes the citations for your nuisance ordinance, and that the fire department of Sturgeon Bay and all the names that were named earlier in the meeting be fined for creating a nuisance, including yourself, Mr. Tice, Fire Chief Tim Dittman.
Let me know what you'd like in writing, and I'll decide if I'll put it on. Thank you. All right. Motion to adjourn would be in order.
I will move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Linda, second by Chuck to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.